Hello, good morning. Happy February. As I was sitting down here, I realized that today is February 1st. Always a good time for reflection when we start things. So if that sounds good to you, reflecting on the past month and then looking with uh, joy and um, excitement for the month ahead. So, this morning we're going to do uh, some breathing exercises. The breath is really important. It does two main things. It brings us to the present moment, and it also has the ability to control and regulate our nervous system. So, it can um, bring us ease down from anxiety, but it also, if used the correct way, can amp up, bring us energy, give us stamina, and also concentration. So I thought this morning we'd take the few minutes that we have together, or whenever you're watching this, and go through three types of breaths, breathing practices. So the first one would just be mindful breathing, which we'll practice here to begin with, then deep breathing, and then finally, alternate nostril breathing. And some of you may have already experienced these types of breaths, but it's a good reminder, especially if you haven't thought about them for a while. And if you're new to thinking about the breath, they're also really easy to incorporate into our day or our daily practice. So let's get started. If you're not already seated, go ahead and get comfortable. Morning tea, important. So we're going to spend a little bit of time setting up our posture with breath work, with just coming to sit in formal meditation. Posture is important because it's setting the tone. And it also cues into our mind that this is a time for us. So developing the body and mind to recognize that. So sitting up straight, I invite you to close your eyes. You also may find yourself wanting to peek at me for verbal cues this morning, and that's absolutely fine. So do what's comfortable for you. But I'm going to close my eyes and just begin to do my mental check, right? Making sure that I'm establishing a firm seated position. I'm happen to be sitting cross-legged, so I'm really rooting in at the sit bones and where my seat touches the cushion. You can do the same if you're sitting in a chair, but you have the added support and root system of the feet if your feet are flat on the ground. So maybe taking that deeper breath to settle, considering the shoulders and drawing them up and back. And then I think I mentioned before either just kind of tracing our spine, making sure it's straight, thinking of our spine as a stack of golden coins or maybe a string that is straight. And then when we get to the neck, we want that to be straight as well. And so you may notice just a slight, inward motion of the neck or the chin when you do that, right? So lifting up, we don't want the chin and neck spilling out. We want everything kind of straight and aligned. And as I've mentioned before, that rooting down like a tree, the roots of a tree, plugging into the earth should be what we feel at our seat down through our feet. And then as we pay attention to the shoulders and up through the crown of the head, there's a lightness. So So just establishing your seat. And the first practice I mentioned is mindful breathing. This is kind of a foundational technique for mindfulness, for meditation, definitely also for yoga and other somatic practices. It connects you to the present moment and it allows you to check in with kind of how you're doing. So I invite you to watch the breath, not doing anything special with it, just watching it. And you can also, as you notice the in-breath, perhaps at the nostrils, you just silently note in. And as you exhale, you can silently say out. So just following your breath, not thinking that you're doing it wrong or that you should be doing it differently. Just kind of finding the rhythm of your own breath. Noting in and out. This is also what we call an anchor. So, as you may have noticed, our mind is always taking us places into the future, the past, our to do list. So, having an anchor like the breath helps keep our mind calm and concentrated. So, you can do this easily, whether it's 3 mindful breaths during the day, standing, walking. You don't have to be in seated meditation, looking out the window, taking 3 mindful breaths, connecting. Or you could do it a little more formally and, watch your breath for 5 minutes in and out. And that could just be your meditation. So the next breathing exercise is deep breathing. And so I invite you to, again, check your posture, making sure it's straight. And then maybe noticing the tendency for our shoulders to kind of curve forward. And if you want to take a peek at me, I'm going to show you what happens in my body that I notice is that the shoulders, maybe it's through being at the computer, driving, we're always doing stuff where we're bent over. So especially with breathing, you want to make sure that we're really giving the lungs full capacity, right? Full benefit of our torso area. So really paying attention to that and I notice after a while when I sit, I have to come back, right? And readjust that spine. So, yeah. So settling back in, closing your eyes, and taking a deeper breath this time. And noticing, you may notice kind of 3 components of your breath in at the nostrils, then it goes to the back of your throat. And then where does a deeper breath go for you? Do you feel it in the chest? Do you feel it in the lower chest? Or do you feel it in the abdomen? or the diaphragm. So taking 3 breaths here, just deeper breaths, noticing. And then just knowing when we take a deeper breath and we are breathing to the bottom of our lungs, this is more calming as well. A lot of times we breathe a lot more shallow, and that tends to be in the upper chest. So anytime that we can take a breath that is more conscious and deeper, the body and the nervous system likes that. Okay, the last breath that I'm going to share with you today is alternate nostril breathing. And it may seem odd if you haven't done this before, but it's really powerful. So, throughout a given day, we're breathing through our nostrils, and we might be aware of this or we may not, is that one nostril is predominant over the other. And I've been told that as we breathe in, that changes approximately every hour and a half. So if we're breathing in through the right for an hour and a half, next we'll breathe through the left predominantly. Here's what I find interesting is that the left side of our brain is associated with the moon and the right, the sun. And so I like to remember that because the moon is softer and the sun is more energizing. So we're going to begin doing this breath. We're going to use our hands. And so I invite you to go ahead and bring your right thumb up to your right nostril. You can place the rest of your fingers on your forehead. And we're going to breathe in through the left. We're going to take our ring finger, close off the left nostril, and breathe out through our right. So take a minute to get in the rhythm. And then we'll take, as soon as we breathe out of the right nostril, we're going to close it with our thumb, lift our ring finger, and breathe in through the left. Pause, place the ring finger on the left nostril, open the right, and breathe out. Close the right with the thumb, lift the ring finger, breathe in for the left. And then continue that for about 5 more breaths, okay? In through the left, out through the right. Finish your last breath cycle, exhaling through the right nostril, and then go ahead and bring your hands down and just sit and see if you can feel the effects of breathing in through that moon, that left calming side. You may also notice that maybe both of your nostrils feel a little clearer, more even. So those were 3 pretty quick but really foundational breathing practices that you can do. That last alternate nostril, we were doing the left side, kind of a circle in through the left, out through the right. Now, if you needed energy or stamina or concentration, you would reverse that and you would first block the left side, breathe in through the right and back. There's many more ways that you can use breathing through the nadis or the alternate nostrils for different effects. But if you're interested in playing around with this, I would do that. Pick what you need. Do you need more moon calming or energizing sun? And play with that you can do it for 3 up to 10 minutes. And then I invite you to, after you do that, just kind of sit and see the effects on the mind and the body. So I hope this was beneficial for you. I invite you to try it out over the next week. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email. And I hope you have a great week. Thanks again for everybody that's watching. I appreciate you. Blessings.